Hello and welcome into the Bombers Beat podcast, or what I should basically just call the Aaron Judge Love Fest. As you listen to me here on this lovely Friday, hopefully you are ending your work week on a high note, but the Yankees were off on Thursday, which gave me the opportunity to do something a little bit different for this show. We don't have a game to recap. We don't have a situation to break down. But what we do have is a player doing something that is just remarkable. And it's remarkable even for the player of the caliber of Aaron Judge. He just continues to not only mash the baseball, but just does a little bit of everything well. And I want to take a little bit of time today to spend, 10 or 15 minutes breaking down, what he has been able to do through the first month of the season and just how good he has been. And, he right now is hitting .427, which leads all of Major League Baseball. He has 10 home runs, which is tied for the league in all of Major League Baseball. He has 32 RBIs, which is tied for the lead in all of Major League Baseball. He has 50 hits, which leads all of Major League Baseball. He's even worked in a few steals as well. And it's what, and you say all this, like, okay, that sounds awesome. It sounds great. He is continuing to be a dominant player, but I want to talk about, it's not just leading, because you talk about leading something in baseball, obviously you have to be a good player to do that, but it's also 1 month and somebody has to be the leader in those categories. I think what the most telling thing of best how good he has been this season is his WAR. He currently has an F-WAR of 3.2. Now, if you extrapolate that over the course of a season, right now he is somewhere in the pace of about being an 18-ish WAR player. I'm going to go on a limb and say he's not going to get to quite to do that, but what he is doing right now is unbelievably fantastic for him. And how I want to describe this is the next closest player to him is Fernando Tatis with 2.1 WAR. That's 1.1 WAR. So the difference between Judge and Fernando Tatis is equivalent to the 37th best player in baseball's entire value. So if you took the second best player in baseball and the 37th best player in baseball and combine them, that's how you get to Aaron Judge. The next closest player in the American League is Alex Bregman at 1.6 WAR, literally half as valuable as Aaron Judge has been this year. That is crazy when you think about that. When you think about that, it's not just the disparity, it's having a disparity like that in such a short period of time. It is what really drives home that point. And he is playing, look, you hear the phrase, guys playing on a different level, blah, 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 blah. This is playing on a different level. This is Aaron Judge and literally everybody else right now. And you take a look right now, his OPS at 1282 obviously leads the league. You take a look at his baseball savant as well, and you look at his numbers, and they're incredible. He's in the 100th percentile in expected WOBA. He's in the 99th percentile in expected batting average, 100th percentile in expected slug, 99th percentile in average exit velocity, 100th percentile in barrel rate, 96th percentile in hard hit, 83rd percentile in sweet spot, 96th in bat speed, 92nd in chase rate, 89th in walks, and he's above average in squared up and K percentage. The only thing right now that he is below average at is whiff rate. But it doesn't seem to matter. His spray chart has home runs everywhere. He uses the entire field, as we know. Everything. His average exit velocity is still has room to grow. It's not even as high as it's been the last couple of seasons at 95.5 miles an hour. He is just doing everything so well right now. And you're looking at like the type of pitches that he's getting, and he's just hitting everything. And it's pretty remarkable what he's doing. Obviously, I mean, he's crushing left-handed pitching, but he's also crushing right-handed pitching. I mean, obviously, he hasn't had as many at-bats against lefties, only 28 plate appearances against lefties, has hit 5 homers. So he's gone 50-50 there. But even against righties, he's still hitting .411 with a .500 on base. It's just everything he is doing, he is having success. He's having success in all scenarios. He is hitting .369 or above in literally every scenario. Bases empty, he's hitting .369. That's his lowest. Bases loaded, he's hitting .600. Runners at first, .444. Runners at first and second, .444. Runners at first and third, .500. Runner at second, .571. Runners at second and third, .1,000 in his, only again one at bat, but 1,000, and runner at third, 1,000. And runners in scoring position, by the way, .560 with a 1633 OPS with runners in scoring position. He's just doing it everywhere. His home, at home he's been great, 1464 OPS, but he's hitting 1126 OPS on the road. Day game, night game splits, almost identical. It's everything he is doing. He is having a tremendous amount of success. He's even having a tremendous amount of success with two outs. He's at 1164 OPS with 2 outs in an inning. It's remarkable what he's doing. And he is just he has been not only unbelievably successful, but he has been the definition of consistency in any situation, against any pitch, in any location, in any spot in the lineup, in any on-base situation, against any handedness, in pretty much any inning. He's been the best player in baseball. And you have to kind of just sit back and marvel at what you're watching right now. Like, this is the last time, and we've seen obviously some unbelievably great seasons from Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge was well on his way to his Hall of Fame before this season ever began. You've got the arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rookie season of all time. You have the 62 home run season. You have what he did last year. I mean, you have some seasons in there that you can put up there and say, those are all timers. And this one somehow could be even better. And the last time I felt like this was when I was a kid watching Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds. Like, that's what I feel like when I was watching those guys growing up, when I started to really fall in love with baseball in the late 90s. That's what I feel like when I'm watching Aaron Judge. And I have never seen, and obviously we can have obviously Judge is clean versus what we believe those other guys are. And we can have a whole debate, and it's obviously never going to be solved. Nobody's ever going to feel like they have won or they're losing or winning the argument. But the greatest hitter I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes in person. I don't want to speak for hitters that were around before I was alive. I just want to talk about hitters that I have seen since I've been alive and that I've got to see in person at the stadium with my own 2 eyes. So, sorry, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Ty Cobb, those guys. I'm not talking about these, Hank Aaron. I'm not talking about these types of players. I'm talking about what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. And if you're in your 20s, 30s, or probably even 40s, you're gonna understand where I'm coming from on here. The greatest hitter I ever saw, the hitter that, and I mean all around hitter, not just contact. Obviously, I think you would probably say like the greatest contact hitter I've ever seen was Ichiro. And again, in those descriptions, the greatest hitter I've ever saw was Barry Bonds. I have never seen someone just command the plate and dominate a game in the way Barry Bonds did. And it's a tough thing to do in baseball as a hitter. You're not a starting pitcher where you're getting the ball for an entire half inning. This is not basketball where you can have a superstar on the court and you're one of five and you can dominate a game. It's not football with a quarterback where you're touching the ball every single play. You're not the goalie where you're the only defense between the other team scoring or not. It is tough to take over a game and games and seasons as a hitter. Because no matter how good of a hitter you are, you're still one of nine. And it's arguably why there is so much, even though there's maybe not parity in baseball when it comes to salaries, why there's playoff parity in baseball, why it's actually harder for the best teams in baseball to win the World Series than for the best teams in any other sport to win their championship. It's why you constantly see that, because as good as you are as a hitter, you're one of nine. As good as you are as a starter, you're one of five and then maybe one of 3 or 4 in the postseason. As dominant of a closer as you can be, you're going to be pitching 1 of 9 innings, maybe 2 of 9 innings. And probably not 3 days in a row. It is tough. It is incredibly tough to take over the game of baseball as a star in general, and it's even tougher to do it as a hitter. Barry Bonds did that. Barry Bonds dictated games. Barry Bonds made you throw out the conventional wisdom rule book when he came to the plate. And you would do anything and everything. Obviously, the most famous case being the Buck Showalter intentional walk with the bases loaded situation. But Aaron Judge has that feel to him. You watch that game on Wednesday against Baltimore, and there was a situation where there was a runner on first, 2 outs, and Aaron Judge was up. And they were almost essentially giving a stolen base up. They were almost flat out encouraging someone to steal a base and move them into scoring position in a close game so they could walk Judge. And then when there was a wild pitch, guy moves up to second, and then they walk Judge. Which kind of shows you that was the plan from the beginning. You're taking a team that's in a close game and saying, not only do I want to put Judge on base, I want somebody else to be in scoring position because I just rather do and face anybody else but Aaron Judge. You watch at bats where Aaron Judge gets intentionally walked, and the pitcher makes one little mistake and it hangs and catches the corner. Judge rips it for a single. And at bat, the pitcher had no intention of trying to get him out. That is the type of player that Aaron Judge has become. That is the level that he has ascended to. And he is putting himself in the conversation to be the greatest right-handed hitter in the history of baseball. And that's saying something. Because you guys got guys like Hank Aaron. You got guys like Alex Rodriguez. You got probably the guy that might carry that mantle right now for a lot of us, and that's Albert Pujols. Aaron Judge is putting himself in that conversation. He's the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. He doesn't appear to be slowing down. So, as the Yankees get ready to start this home series against the Rays, and they start to enter the second month of the season, enjoy whatever this ride becomes this year. Because the ride for 62 was really just the Aaron Judge show. It wasn't the year you were rooting for the Yankees. Last year's ride was pretty fun because it went all the way to the World Series for the Yankees, and Judge was a monster. This is another potentially historic season, greater than what he did last year, at least on pace. And you start to wonder, what can he do? What is his ceiling? And I know Aaron Boone talks about it a lot and basically just says, I'm not going to put a cap on what Aaron Judge can do because why would you? Every time you think you've seen man, that's got to be the best he's got, he brings it to another level. enjoy this run that he's on right now, because we're seeing something truly special. To see a guy that's sitting right now at minus 600 in the odds to be the AL MVP. Guys, it's May 2nd. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But you know who else is ridiculous? Aaron Judge. And I'm going to enjoy this ride that he's on. I hope you will as well. And hopefully it leads the Yankees back to the World Series. But even if it doesn't, it is important to appreciate the greatness of what you're watching right now and the greatness that we are seeing in a sport that has more than a century of stats, more than a century of backstory. There is no sport where its history is more important than the history of baseball is to Major League Baseball. The past is tied into the present and the future, and they will always be intertwined in Major League Baseball. It's part of the greatness and the excitement and the joy of being a baseball fan. And what you're seeing right now is the potential for one of the greatest seasons we have ever seen in the history of the game. Do not let that pass you by without stopping, admiring, and smelling the roses a little bit.